Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Avian Special Inks Facebook Live event. Today we're going to cover using the Thermo-Probe to check your dryer and to map it so you know you're getting full cure. So if you're not sure how long your dryer is, it's good to measure it, find out for yourself. Ours is 12 feet. I like to mark my lead for my donut probe every 2 feet. So I can get an idea how far my donut is actually inside the can. This comes in handy later. For today's demonstration, we're going to use a common setting of around 320 degrees for 1 minute. You noted that we went 5 degrees over because we know by mapping our ovens that we need this to hit the 320 mark in the wet ink. We are using an Atkins Thermo-Probe. Some people call it a donut probe. It has 2 cross-linking connections going into this lead wire. They'll be connected to this receiver, which will tell us the temperature. One of the first things I like to do is check my oven's ambient temperature to make sure that the air is flowing freely and keeping the heat throughout the can. Before I get started, I make sure that my lead is untangled all the way to the ground. And I'll place this into the Thermo-Probe. So the Thermo-Probe will read out the temperature. You see right now it's in Fahrenheit. I can change that to Celsius if I need to. And I allow the lead to go into the oven. I place this, the crosshairs up, because I'm just trying to get the temperature of the oven. What we want to see is a quick ascension to the temperature that's set, and we want it to hold throughout the can. We're about to go into the oven, and if you watch it, here we go. We're going to hop up quickly. Straight up to the 320 mark. This is just the air flowing around it. This has nothing to do with the ink temperature, which would be much lower. You can see we're keeping a very nice look. It's a good idea to kind of record all this on a sheet to make sure that you're staying consistent throughout. And what we'll do is we'll measure the center of the oven and the left-hand side of the oven. So another thing I like to do is get the consistency of the air as the ambient temperature in the middle of the oven. So we've already figured out this is a 12-foot oven. So every 2 feet, see my mark. So that's 2, 4, 6. This is going to be my halfway mark. What I want to do is let it go to the edge, and I'm going to hold it in place and then watch my readings. This will let me know if I'm getting too much fluctuation in the heat itself, and it could be a telltale sign if there's something wrong with one of your blowers. So I'm holding it here. See, it's hovering around 335 to 340. Not much fluctuation there. So here's a true test. You want to know what the ink is curing at. So you put the crosshairs into the wet ink, press it down, and you do the readings. You'll see quite a difference in this reading since it's in the wet ink. You'll take a slower turn toward the temperature that is set. making a longer curve, a cure curve. Here we go. About 3/4 through the oven, and we're hitting temperature. When we hit that temperature and hold, oh wow. As it goes out, it's going to cool down. When you finish making your reading, you want to pull the lead out of the unit and just throw it on the belt and let it go through. So now we're going to create a chart and get a cure curve. So it's going in right now. 110. 171. 212. 233. 260. 261. 275. 300. 310. 315. 320. 325. 330. 320. 290. It's on its way out. So here you go. We put all the numbers down on this chart, and then we're going to do a cure curve. So we take these numbers every 5 seconds and we mark it on our chart to hit what temperatures we've been hitting on that. This creates the cure curve to connect the dots. So in this particular case, it was a pretty quick curve. You'll find that when you're doing white inks and things like that, the curve is going to be a little bit slower. It's going to be a slow climb, but it'll get up here and hold and then dive down. Actually be this quick because we're in there only for 1 minute. So by utilizing the Thermo-Probe, you are able to map your ovens, make sure you're curing, and also get a heads up on any problems you might be having with any of the elements in your oven. Appreciate you joining us. See you next week.